For countless centuries, humanity has relentlessly strived to comprehend the fundamental mysteries of its existence, with many brilliant minds dedicating their lives to seeking answers to these timeless questions. Yet, in this grand quest for truth, one name shines particularly bright, like a guiding star in the labyrinth of consciousness: Carl Jung. More than just a thinker, he was a true visionary who dared to delve into the most uncharted depths of the human psyche. He didn't merely explore, he literally unveiled an entirely new field of knowledge, so profound and revolutionary that few still truly venture to grasp it. He revealed something to us that, despite its colossal significance, remains hidden from the vast majority. It turns out that within each of us exists an immense universe containing countless answers, merely awaiting their moment to be discovered. Allow yourself for a moment to imagine something truly astonishing, that all the keys to transforming your own life, to achieving true harmony and understanding, are already inherently embedded within you. They are not found in the pages of wise books you diligently study, nor in the advice or example of people you admire, and certainly not in the dazzling external goals you so persistently pursue. No, the true treasure is concealed in that hidden inner sanctuary, a place where people rarely look, and at times even avoid, the boundless expanses of the unconscious. Jung was convinced that this is where humanity's true wealth lies, an infinite space filled with ancient symbols, prophetic messages, and profound truths capable of completely overturning your perception of reality and opening new horizons. But here lies a serious catch, a true dilemma for modern individuals. We live in an era where pervasive external noise, an endless stream of information and distractions mercilessly cut us off from this internal, innate wisdom. People are constantly diverted by the pursuit of external achievements, the illusory approval on social media, and endless self-comparison, forgetting that genuine power and the source of true guidance lie in the ability to listen to what is happening deep within us. That intuition, so often ignored, that inexplicable premonition that arises when something feels wrong, or when an important decision needs to be made, these are not mere coincidences, not whims of imagination. They are persistent calls from your own unconscious, demanding your close attention and ready to reveal something vitally important. Jung clearly understood that the vast majority of people traverse their life's path remaining disconnected from this powerful inner source. Why does this happen? The answer is simple, but requires courage. Because a genuine encounter with oneself, a descent into one's own depths, demands incredible bravery. It means having to look directly and without pretense at what one prefers to avoid at all costs. It means confronting one's own insecurities, repressed fears, and those parts of our personality that we so carefully hide and suppress because we mistakenly believe they don't fit into the accepted norms of the external world. But what if it is precisely in these hidden corners that the key to your true essence and inexhaustible power lies? However, there is a profound truth that the eminent thinker Carl Gustav Jung sought to convey to humanity. These aspects, which we sometimes perceive as shadows or dark sides of our personality, are not hostile forces at all. On the contrary, they are an integral, fundamental component of our authentic self, shaping each individual's uniqueness. It is only through a courageous and conscious confrontation with these inner shadows that an individual gains true freedom from internal shackles and simultaneously unlocks an immense potential, an unimaginable inner power. Throughout life, everyone has undoubtedly experienced periods of deep chaos, agonizing confusion, or emotions that seem to completely engulf their consciousness. These intense experiences should not be viewed as mere mistakes or annoying failures. Rather, they serve as indicators, providing a unique opportunity to pause, reflect deeply, and ask a key question. What message is my own, deep self trying to convey to me? Jung asserted that true psychological awakening is impossible without experiencing discomfort, because it is in such critical crisis moments that the deep unconscious begins to express itself most clearly and persistently. In this context, it is appropriate to reflect on the interpersonal relationships formed in an individual's life, on the decisions they have made, and on the behavioral patterns that seem to repeat with remarkable regularity throughout their existence. Has one not noticed how certain situations arise again and again on their path, like unfinished lessons that have not yet been fully mastered or understood? Carl Gustav Jung would undoubtedly call such phenomena not random coincidences, but a direct reflection of the internal processes occurring in the human psyche. For the external world, in his conviction, serves as a precise mirror of each individual's inner world, projecting outward their hidden aspects and unresolved conflicts. If a person is not in harmony with their true self, this internal discord inevitably manifests in the external world as increasing chaos, a series of conflicts, or even a feeling of deep, all-consuming emptiness. It is at this moment that radical changes occur. Carl Jung, the eminent thinker, asserted that the true transformation of the personality begins not when a person seeks answers in the external world, but when they turn their gaze inward. This aspiration does not mean escaping from reality or withdrawing from society. On the contrary, it implies encountering the world from a state of deep inner sincerity and authenticity. When an individual develops the ability to listen attentively to their unconscious, an amazing process is set in motion. Disparate elements of life begin to harmoniously align, long-standing problems find unexpected solutions, and necessary people appear on life's path as if part of some grand design. It is worth pondering this statement for a moment. How many times has one ignored their own inner voice or intuition simply because it seemed irrational or contrary to logic? How many times have decisions been made dictated by the expectations of others rather than true desires, which later led to disappointment and a realization of the falsity of the chosen path? It is precisely in such moments that the unconscious strives to guide the individual, to offer the right direction. However, it can only be heard with sufficient courage to stop, reflect deeply, and fearlessly confront oneself. Jung emphasized that everyone has their own unique life purpose, which can only be discovered by daring to delve into their own depths. This purpose is not about blindly following others' paths or copying models. It consists of creating one's own unique road, guided by inner, authentic truth. To achieve this, one must learn to integrate their own shadows, that is, to accept those aspects of the personality that are denied or suppressed, and to transform past wounds and weaknesses into their greatest resources and sources of strength. The inner path of self-discovery, delving deep within oneself, is rarely simple. Along this challenging route, moments will inevitably arise when an individual confronts aspects of their own personality that they would prefer to leave unaddressed, hidden from view. However, there is an undeniable truth. The more persistently one evades encountering these inner elements, the stronger their dominance over their being. The shadows of one's self, which one strives to turn away from and deny, can transform into frightening phantoms, pursuing them at every turn. But if one only gathers the courage to face them, these perceived monsters transform into reliable allies, granting true liberation. As soon as an individual begins the process of accepting and harmoniously integrating these shadow aspects of themselves, something truly astonishing unfolds. They gain the ability to live in full accordance with their true essence. The great thinker Carl Jung asserted that this is the true purpose of human existence, to become who you truly are, rather than blindly following stereotypes and patterns imposed by social norms or others' expectations. This profound process of self-discovery brings liberation not only to the mind, but also to the individual's life energy. Suddenly, as if by magic, decisions made gain extraordinary clarity. Interpersonal relationships are filled with deep meaning, and one's entire existence seems to be brought into harmony with something far grander and more significant than just one's own self. One only needs to reflect on those individuals who command universal admiration, be they outstanding leaders, talented artists, or close companions, and it becomes evident that they possess a unique aura of calm and inner confidence. This special energy does not stem from their flawlessness or from possessing exhaustive answers to all the world's questions. On the contrary, its source lies in their striking ability to be absolutely authentic, to accept and integrate both their shining and their hidden shadow sides, and to live in full harmony with their deep inner truth. Jung, in his works, emphasized that when one discovers this authenticity within themselves, they not only fundamentally transform their own life, but also become a powerful source of inspiration for others, prompting them to seek their own unique truth. But how does one begin this profound process of self-discovery? The primary step, undoubtedly, is the ability to listen. This means listening to those emotions that were previously ignored, to intuitive impulses that were often dismissed as irrational, and, of course, to dreams that at first glance seemed devoid of any meaning. Carl Jung firmly believed that the unconscious manifests itself and transmits its messages through symbols and archetypes, these universal images that resonate powerfully in the depths of every human being. Whenever an individual falls asleep, experiences an inexplicable inner impulse, or feels a special, almost mystical connection with something or someone, they are, in essence, coming into contact with these ancient archetypes. As an illustration, consider a recurring dream where a person finds themselves lost or persistently searching for something. According to Jung, such a dream is not a random coincidence. It is a direct message from the depths of the unconscious, indicating that some part of the personality feels disconnected from the whole or is searching for its true purpose. Instead of dismissing it, Jung would strongly recommend delving deeper into its exploration. What does it mean to be lost for this particular person? What are they truly searching for in their life? These questions, though seemingly deceptively simple, hold immense power capable of revealing the deepest truths about oneself. Another fundamental concept in Jung's work is the phenomenon of projection. This psychological phenomenon occurs when a person unconsciously attributes qualities, whether positive or negative, to other people that they are unwilling or unable to acknowledge within themselves. For example, if an individual is constantly irritated by someone's perceived selfishness, Jung would interpret this as a valuable opportunity for deep self-analysis. He would suggest asking, is there a part of me that is afraid of being selfish, or perhaps needs to be more assertive? Similarly, when a person experiences deep admiration for someone, this can serve as a compelling signal that these very same qualities are already dormant within them, awaiting their full revelation and development. The process of deep self-exploration not only improves one's relationship with oneself, but also significantly deepens one's connections with others. As Carl Gustav Jung asserted, interpersonal relationships serve as mirrors, reflecting the inner world of the personality. Every conflict that arises, every interaction that forms, and every emotion experienced by an individual in relationships with another person represents a unique opportunity to comprehend one's own depths. When a person begins to perceive their interconnections from this perspective, their entire life picture transforms. They stop blaming others for their difficulties and instead take full responsibility for their own development. Nevertheless, encountering one's own shadow aspects does not imply that this path should be walked alone. Jung consistently emphasized the fundamental importance of seeking guidance and support throughout this journey. Such assistance can manifest in the form of psychotherapy, meditation practices, or even deep, meaningful dialogues with people one fully trusts. The key condition is a willingness to be vulnerable, the ability to present oneself as one truly is, with all one's imperfections and undeniable strengths. As a person progresses along this path, they will undoubtedly notice profound changes in how they perceive and experience existence. Decisions that previously seemed irresolvable or extremely difficult will now gain an intuitive clarity. People and circumstances that once caused significant stress and inattention will gradually lose their oppressive power. This, of course, does not mean the complete disappearance of life's difficulties, but the individual now possesses effective internal mechanisms to cope with them with imperturbable calm and unwavering confidence. A fundamental tenet in Carl Gustav Jung's philosophical system is the concept of individuation, the profound process of becoming the person one is meant to be. The essence of this process lies not so much in achieving some ideal perfection, but in attaining inner wholeness and harmony. It is a constantly evolving journey of continuous learning, personal growth, and deep self-knowledge. And although this path can be filled with difficulties, the reward is truly boundless. It is a life permeated by a deep connection with oneself and the world, as well as the true authenticity of one's own being. One can imagine for a moment what one's life would be like if they began to exist based on their own authenticity. What changes would be made to everyday life? Which relationships would have to be let go of? What cherished aspirations would they pursue without looking back? Carl Jung, the eminent thinker, held the conviction that every individual holds the answers to these fundamental questions within themselves, but discovering and comprehending them requires a considerable amount of courage. Among the many captivating ideas developed in Carl Jung's works, the concept of archetypes holds a special place, these universally occurring images and behavioral patterns that are believed to reside in the collective unconscious. Jung asserted that humanity as a whole shares a single, vast repository of symbolic meanings and profound experiences that find their expression in dreams, ancient myths, and cultural traditions preserved through the centuries. These primordial images not only serve as a connecting link, uniting people with their common human nature, but also provide highly significant guidance for deep self-knowledge. Archetypes can be thought of as inner guides or mental maps that predetermine human actions and choices. Among the most recognizable and frequently encountered are such primordial images as the hero, the wise one, the lover, the shadow, and the inner child. Each of these archetypes embodies a specific aspect of the human psyche that awaits thorough exploration and subsequent integration into the holistic personality. For example, the hero archetype embodies the innate human desire for self-overcoming and a readiness to bravely face life's challenges, whereas the shadow archetype, conversely, symbolizes those aspects of the human self that are often preferred to remain unnoticed or suppressed by consciousness. The fundamental insight is as follows. When a person neglects or denies their inner archetypes, and especially the shadow aspects of their own psyche, these unintegrated elements begin to manifest in daily life in destructive or unproductive ways. The individual may experience unprovoked anxiety, oppressive worry, or a feeling of complete stagnation without obvious external prerequisites. Carl Jung explained that this happens because these repressed archetypal forces inevitably strive to find a way to express themselves. It is gratifying to note that by recognizing their presence and actively interacting with them, one can transform these destructive experiences into powerful levers for personal development and deep self-analysis. For example, if an individual constantly experiences a chronic feeling of insecurity or incompetence, this may indicate a loss of connection with their inner hero archetype. This powerful archetype reminds one of the inherent qualities, the necessary inner strength and fearlessness, capable of helping to overcome any life challenges. However, before gaining this strength, one must directly confront their own deep fears. This confrontation may seem daunting at first, but in reality, it is the key to true inner freedom. Another significant archetypal image is the lover archetype, which embodies the human capacity to establish deep, meaningful connections, both with others and with one's inner essence. If anyone has ever felt emotionally detached or sensed that their interpersonal relationships lacked depth and authenticity, this may indicate that this archetype is in disharmony or a suppressed state. According to Jung, the path to forming deeper and more fulfilling connections lies through self-love and unconditional self-acceptance. For only when a person gains the ability to sincerely love and accept themselves without reservation, only then will it be possible to truly love others. Let us now consider a concept that, according to the eminent thinker Carl Gustav Jung, can radically transform human existence: synchronicity. Have there been coincidences in anyone's life so striking that they transcended ordinary chance? For example, one might think of an old acquaintance, and a moment later the phone rings, and it's precisely that person, or one might discover a book containing the exact answer to a pressing question that had troubled their mind. Jung characterized such experiences as synchronicities, phenomena lacking direct causal connection, but united by a profound, meaningful unity. Synchronicity appears as a kind of language through which the universe or one's own unconscious transmits important messages. It serves as an indicator that the individual is in harmony with their true purpose and that unseen forces are acting in their favor, contributing to their development. However, for these synchronicities to become noticeable, the individual must be in a state of full awareness, being here and now, demonstrating exceptional receptivity to the surrounding world. Such receptivity implies close attention to the smallest details of existence, to suddenly arising emotional responses, and to opportunities that may appear completely unexpectedly, as if from nowhere. For example, if a person is faced with a difficult choice, and during their reflections, someone coincidentally utters a thought that deeply resonates with them, this becomes a vivid example. This type of experience is not a mere coincidence. It is a manifestation of the person's unconscious interacting with the external world to guide them toward the necessary decision. However, to truly harness the power of synchronicity, one needs to unconditionally trust their intuition and show determination in their actions. One of the most captivating facets of this journey now emerges. As one begins to listen attentively to the deeper layers of their unconscious, actively interact with their own archetypes, and pay close attention to the synchronicities that manifest, their existence begins to transform in ways that previously seemed utterly unimaginable. Disparate fragments of life's puzzle gradually fall into place, forming a coherent picture. Opportunities previously perceived as unattainable now come to them with surprising ease. Relationships that once drained energy naturally fade, while connections capable of uplifting and inspiring begin to blossom. This phenomenon is not magic. It is the logical result of living in full harmony with one's own authentic truth. Carl Jung asserted that the unconscious does not exist separately from us. On the contrary, it constitutes an integral part of our essence. When an individual learns to integrate its messages into their daily life, they create an inner balance that is then reflected in the external world. This is the true transformative power of analytical psychology, not merely in understanding the human mind, but in using that understanding to build a meaningful and purposeful life. At this stage, it is suggested to deeply reflect on which archetypes are actively manifesting in one's current life. Does one feel that any of them might have been ignored or suppressed? And if such a case is found, how could one begin to integrate it? This exercise is not easy, but the answers an individual finds in the process of this exploration can radically change their perception of themselves and their life path. For Carl Jung's knowledge to be successfully integrated into daily life, it is crucial to take conscious and purposeful actions. Theory, however transformative it may be, gains its true power only in practical application. Below is a practical guide based on Jungian principles designed to help everyone explore their unconscious, connect with their archetypes, and ultimately live in harmony with their inner truth. 1. Dialogue with your shadow. The first step on this path involves confronting one's own shadow, that part of the personality that contains repressed or rejected aspects. This can be a very uncomfortable experience, but remember, the more persistently one ignores their shadow, the stronger its influence over them. As a practical exercise, it is suggested to dedicate a few minutes daily to reflecting on powerful emotional states experienced throughout the day. What specifically caused feelings of frustration, irritation, or shame in the individual? One needs to ask, what specific facet of their personality is reflected in this emotion? For example, if someone triggered a feeling of insecurity, this could serve as an invitation to deeply explore one's relationship with self-esteem. It is recommended to record these reflections in a personal journal. By documenting such patterns, the individual will begin to clearly notice how their shadow attempts to interact with them. This exercise is not for self-condemnation, but for careful and compassionate self-observation. By doing so, one will gradually begin to alleviate inner tension and integrate these previously suppressed aspects into their consciousness. 2. Reconnecting with your inner child. The inner child represents another key archetype highlighted by the eminent psychologist Jung. This aspect of one's personality embodies creativity, carefree spontaneity, and an amazing ability to perceive the world with genuine wonder. Unfortunately, however, life experiences and accumulated difficulties can often suppress this pure essence. To successfully reconnect with this important archetype, it is recommended to set aside time for activities that brought genuine joy in childhood. These can include various forms of self-expression, such as drawing, engaging in dance, playing active games, or simply spending time alone in nature. It is also worth reflecting deeply on the cherished dreams nurtured in childhood, who one aspired to become, or what one wished to achieve. It's important to ask, is there anything from these old aspirations that still resonates within your soul? Furthermore, one should communicate with oneself with the same tenderness, patience, and care as they would with a beloved child. Reconnecting with one's inner child not only richly fills the personality with vital energy and creative potential, but also contributes to the deep healing of past emotional wounds. 3. Identifying and understanding projections. Projections, one of the most common psychological mechanisms people use to cope with aspects of their own personality they refuse or are unwilling to acknowledge. When an individual tends to criticize others, or conversely, feels deep admiration for them, there's a possibility they are unconsciously projecting certain parts of themselves onto them. To work effectively with this phenomenon, the next time you find yourself criticizing someone, it's recommended to pause and ask yourself deep questions. What exactly bothers me about this person? Is there something of this quality that also exists within me, but I don't want to accept it? Similarly, when one feels strong admiration for someone, they should carefully reflect on the qualities that attract them to the other person. It's quite probable that these traits are already dormant within them, awaiting their full unfolding and development. As one regularly practices this self-analysis, they will gradually begin to reclaim those fragments of their personality that were previously projected onto others. This process, in turn, will lead to a significant increase in self-acceptance and bring much greater clarity to interpersonal relationships. 4. Pay close attention to dreams. The renowned psychoanalyst Jung believed that dreams represent one of the most direct routes to the deepest layers of the unconscious. Through these nocturnal visions, one's inner world transmits symbolic messages that can significantly deepen self-understanding and facilitate decision-making that is more in harmony with their true nature. For effective work with dreams, the following approach is recommended. Keep a notebook and pen by your bedside table to record dreams immediately upon waking. Regardless of how bizarre or, at first glance, meaningless they may seem, every tiny detail possesses undeniable value. It is necessary to actively look for recurring patterns or symbols, be it specific places, familiar people, or predominant emotions that regularly appear in dreams. Then reflect on how these dreams might be connected to one's daily reality or current emotional states. Over time, as this practice deepens, one may notice how dreams begin to offer valuable guidance and bring clarity during periods of life uncertainty. 5. Consciously embrace the concept of synchronicity. As previously noted, synchronicity represents a deeply meaningful interconnection between various events that seem to lack an obvious causal relationship. To successfully apply this principle in life, it is necessary to live in the here and now, demonstrating maximum receptiveness to the subtle signs sent by the universe. As a simple but effective exercise, it is suggested to keep systematic records of all significant coincidences one experiences. This might manifest, for example, in unexpectedly finding a book whose content provides an exhaustive answer to a long, troubling question, or in a spontaneously occurring conversation that happens at an exceptionally opportune moment. It is important to reflect deeply on what these unique experiences are trying to convey. It is quite possible that they serve as indicators that one is moving in the right direction, or conversely, point to the need for certain changes in their path. With consistent practice and a deeper understanding of this philosophy, one may notice how synchronicity begins to manifest with increasing frequency, skillfully guiding the individual toward new opportunities and optimal solutions that align with their true purpose. 6. Develop intuition. Intuition is one of the most powerful tools available for successfully navigating life's paths. Carl Jung, a prominent thinker, believed that this inner voice serves as a direct bridge to one's own unconscious, and when an individual masters the art of listening attentively to it, intuition unerringly leads them to where they are truly meant to be. To cultivate and strengthen intuitive abilities, it is recommended to dedicate time daily to meditation or deep contemplation. This practice helps to quiet the mind, allowing the inner voice to sound clearer and more distinct. Before making an important decision, ask yourself, how does your body feel about this choice? Does a sense of expansion, lightness, or conversely, constriction and discomfort arise? It is important to trust the answers that emerge, even if at first glance they seem illogical or unfounded. Over time, with regular practice, intuition becomes sharper, more reliable, and unerring. 7. Create space for change. Change is an inherent and constant component of existence. Carl Jung taught that any resistance to these changes inevitably leads to suffering. Instead of succumbing to fear of future transformations, one should embrace them as valuable opportunities for personal growth and further development. As a practical exercise, it is suggested to make a list of areas in life that, in your opinion, require change. These could be aspects related to relationships, ingrained habits, or even professional activities. Next, identify a small but concrete step you can take today to begin moving in the desired direction. This first step does not necessarily have to be radical or massive. The main thing is to start moving forward with clear intention. It is important to note every progress achieved, no matter how insignificant it may seem. For long-term and deep changes occur through sequential, methodical steps, rather than through instantaneous and one-time transformations. At this stage of life, it is crucial to recognize that true transformation does not happen overnight. Carl Jung tirelessly emphasized that working with the unconscious, the process of integrating our shadow aspects and connecting with archetypes, is a continuous journey, full of both ups and downs, requiring constant self-analysis and effort. However, it is precisely in this complex yet fascinating journey that one discovers their true essence and a profound understanding of themselves. When an individual begins to live from a state of genuineness and authenticity, changes become not just possible, but inevitable. They leave behind relationships that no longer nourish their soul, free themselves from fears that once constrained their actions, and gain the clarity necessary to make decisions that fully align with their life purpose and destiny. This profound process not only transforms one's personal life, but also significantly impacts those around them. As Jung aptly remarked, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." And now a crucial question arises for every individual. Are you ready for a true awakening? Are you ready to embark on a journey into the depths of your own self, to dare to look at your inner shadows, those aspects of personality that sometimes remain unrecognized or suppressed, and thereby unlock the colossal potential dormant within your unconscious? The true answer to this fundamental question should not be sought in external evaluations, nor does it lie within generally accepted social norms or the opinions of others. It is hidden deep within oneself, merely awaiting the courage and resolve to discover it. Today, a unique opportunity and a favorable moment open up for everyone to begin a completely new, meaningful chapter of their personal existence. This is not about striving for unattainable perfection, but about a deep and sincere acceptance of one's authentic self, and about allowing all of one's life experiences, even those that seem most difficult and painful, to serve as faithful guides on the path to achieving one's true purpose. The time has come for everyone to restore the lost connection with their inner world, to learn to listen to the voice of their own intuition, and to actively apply the invaluable psychological tools and concepts bequeathed to us by the outstanding thinker Carl Jung, in order to build a life filled with deep meaning and genuine substance. If this profound message resonates with you, then always remember, The true meaning of existence lies not in an endless search for external solutions or others' guidance, but in the grand discovery and realization of the richness and wisdom that already inherently reside within you. This is your personal, unique moment to truly awaken, to begin living in full accordance with your inner truth, and to generously share your unique light and wisdom with the world around you, contributing to the common